Racial profiling is an issue that has been continuously rearing its head all around the country. According to the Congressional Research Service, racial profiling is the practice of targeting individuals for police or security detention based on their race or ethnicity in the belief that certain minority groups are more likely to engage in unlawful behavior. Data shows that while police are patrolling, they stop and frisk certain minorities, mostly blacks and Latinos, more than other races. Each year, the percentages of blacks and Latinos stopped are significantly greater than that of any other race. Around 50% of those being searched are black, 30% are Latino, and 10% are white. Of all these people, about 50% of them are between the ages of 14 and 24. The most alarming part of these unreasonable searches is that out of the hundreds of thousands of people stopped each year, about 90% of them are innocent of any wrongdoing. Many defendants argue that these instances of profiling are acts of racial discrimination and are in violation of their Fourth Amendment rights, the right to be protected against unreasonable search and seizure. Stop and frisk policies are affecting thousands of innocent people in cities nationwide. Crime prevention and civil liberties have been hot topics in the news, specifically in New York recently. When the police are on patrol, by law, they are only permitted to stop people if they have probable cause to do so. The officer must be able to articulate the facts that cause them to stop and frisk the civilian. Hunches, gut feelings, or beliefs that a certain race is more likely to commit a crime are not hard facts and cannot be used as a reason for search and seizure. Data from the NYPD's own records show that since 2002, millions of innocent people have been stopped and frisked. In June, because of these statistics, thousands of protesters joined in the streets of New York and silently marched down Fifth Avenue against the stop and frisk policy. One of the marchers, Taekwon Brihan, has been stopped and frisked collectively 60 times before the age of 18. And many times, after simply asking why he had been stopped, the police would put him in handcuffs and detain him for hours before he was released. These acts of racial profiling didn't only affect his civil liberties, they became psychologically damaging. Describing his experiences to the New York Times, he said, "Most of the times when I get stopped, I'm walking down the block. They never say, 'This is why I'm stopping you.' When you're young and you're black, no matter how you look, you fit the description. I would do stuff that would get me suspended so I could be completely away from the cops." Accompanying Taekwon, the demonstrators consisted of many political leaders and civil rights groups, including the Reverend Al Sharpton, the NAACP, Occupy Wall Street, and hundreds of people who have personally been affected by the stop and frisk policy. In response, Mayor Bloomberg stated that the policy needs to be mended, not ended. The mayor and the police commissioner, Ray Kelly, both argue that the stop and frisk practice gets guns off the street, reduces crime, and improves the quality of life in Black and Latino communities. Whereas Al Sharpton was quoted as saying, "When you see this disproportionate amount of us stopped and frisked, if you look at the amount of guns confiscated in 2003 and then look at the amount in 2011, there's not much difference. The net result is that the harassment and profiling of Black and Latinos doesn't lead to a reduction of gun confiscation." The New York Civil Liberties Union is joined with the public in speaking out against racial profiling and the stop and frisk practices. Each time an innocent person is stopped because of the color of their skin, it weakens the relationship between the police and the community. New Yorkers and anyone affected by the racial profiling happening all around the country are humiliated, frustrated, and angry. According to Benjamin Jealous, the president and CEO of the NAACP, stop and frisk is a political tool victimizing one group of people so another group feels protected. Every day, thousands of innocent people are feeling disrespected by the police and want to protect their civil liberties by fighting these unreasonable search and seizures. Although the stop and frisk policy in New York is in the limelight, New York is not the only city that is dealing with this problem, nor is stop and frisk the only example of racial profiling in this country. Hispanic Americans are also being treated unconstitutionally in border states. In Arizona immigration law, SB 1070, which passed in 2010, allows police to question the immigration status of anyone that appears to be of Hispanic descent. The constitutionality of this law was called into question by the Supreme Court in June of this month, which led to the decision that it was constitutional for law enforcement to make a reasonable attempt to determine the immigration status of a person stopped, detained, or arrested if there is suspicion that the person is in the country illegally. However, it was found unconstitutional to make it a state crime for an immigrant to be without papers, allow for warrantless arrest in some situations, and prohibit an illegal immigrant from working in Arizona. When the law was initially passed, Kristen Sinema, former Arizona state representative, stated that this legislation would do nothing to solve the problems Arizona faces as a border state, would enshrine racial profiling, would be prohibitively expensive, and will create a permanent culture of fear and panic in innocent communities. Similar to Arizona, many other states that border Mexico have immigration bills under consideration. These bills are controversial, much like the stop and frisk policy, because they may be found to violate the 4th and 14th Amendments, the protection against unreasonable search and seizure, and the right to equal protection, respectively. These bills, if passed, could encourage racial profiling and make it legally acceptable to take away the rights of citizens. No one should be treated differently because of the color of their skin, or feel disgraced and disrespected by the police. We have to remember to treat others the way we would like to be treated, and most of all, we as Americans need to continue to protect the psychological health and constitutional rights of our citizens, because we are all equal no matter our color. Racial profiling can create lasting scars that destroy lives. So if you are the mother, father, relative, or friend of someone who has been a victim of this heinous reality that is racial profiling, show them this video and join electedface.com to reach out to your elected officials and ask them to help protect your rights and make a difference in the lives of millions.